We're
Hey,
live.
oh, we're live? Okay. Are we? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. Welcome to Xbox International. I am your host, the crazy one, the sexy version of, sexy fat version of Henry Cavill, Crazy Louie. I hope everybody in chat is doing awesome today. We're going to have an awesome, fantastic show. And here with us today, we have the awesome, the man of the Phantom Dust game. Also, the Cold Veronica Killer, Mr. Miles Dompier. How are you doing, sir?
I am fantastic. What is going on, dudes? Excited to hang out with you. It's a beautiful Wednesday, right? That's what day it is.
Yes.
Everything's blurring together, but
Yeah.
excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yes, I mean I got a lot of subjects to ask you because I mean I know you like games, you like horror, and I'm a horror fanatic. Also, Silent Cypher is a horror fanatic. I mean, look on his back wall. He's got what's that guy's name over there? I
You
forgot.
got
That's
Michael
the
Myers on
he's got
deck.
Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. He's got is that
You know,
wait? I think I see what's that guy named? Plastic Man, wasn't it? Stretch Armstrong
oh,
back there. Isn't that
no,
Stretch Armstrong?
Turbo Man.
I was going to
Oh,
say that's
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man from
Turbo
That's
the
Man.
Turbo Man.
holiday
Oh,
classic Jingle All.
yes.
Oh
I
man.
had to. I couldn't help it. The
Oh,
nostalgia just grabbed me around Christmas.
they really did Turbo Man dolls. I need to get a Turbo Man doll. I need to have that for my collection. So
Yeah.
Miles, what's up? What you been doing? What you been playing lately?
What have I been playing lately? I've been
Yeah,
playing Chrono Cross Remastered. I've been
awesome.
playing Godfall, and I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Unite. Really, it's been a long time since a like MOBA has really pulled me in like Pokemon Unite. So I have got a couple hundred hours in that. So that's become a nightly thing for me in the squad, jumping on and taking a bunch of L's because we're in high rank. We're on the edge of Masters, and there's a lot of sweaty matches involved.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Me? What have I been playing lately? I've been playing. Yesterday, I played a little bit of Shredders. I've been off the gaming lately because I've just been busy. It's been a busy week, but I was playing Shredders, and maybe tonight I'll hop on Elden Ring. It's been a while since I played Elden Ring. So, what's up with you, Silent Cypher? How are you doing today, my brother? And what you been playing?
Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you guys again. I've been playing a bunch of Alan Wake. That's where I've been at recently. Work has been crazy the last few weeks, and so I kind of went back to like comfort food, right? Stuff that I can just jump into, enjoy. It's something I played before, so I kind of remember the general gist of it and stuff. But that game, I just every time I go back to that game, it's just so good. And that remaster, especially after the patches they released recently, it's playing so good. So that's the majority of what I've been doing. The kids had spring break last week, so I played a bunch of Fortnite with my son. Um, I gotta say, I think I'm Fortnite out again for a couple weeks. I think I'm
Good.
ready to play some other games, possibly some more Hot Wheels Unleashed. I gotta see if that one has couch co-op, because if that one has it, I don't know if you've played that game. It's great. It's a really good game.
Yeah, that game
Ah,
is fantastic. They do
You should
such a
try it
good
out.
job of like capturing the nostalgic feel of Hot Wheels. If you grew up
Yes.
playing them ever,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
one of my favorite things about it is they let you build your own super nerdy man cave. You can go downstairs. You can customize the tile in your kitchen. You can customize the arcade cabinets in your basement. It's
Yeah.
so dorky, but so good, and there's so much care put into it.
Miles, did you play any of the multiplayer matches? Did you get to try anyone else's creations?
I haven't tried anyone's custom creations. I played some online with some buddies, but we didn't go
Yeah.
into the user created courses yet.
So Paul AFC and myself ended up making the mistake of jumping into some of the user created this weekend. And man, I will tell you, like, it was fun and people made some really cool maps, but it gets really abusive really fast.
Oh
Like
no.
some of the people that made those maps, like they were very, very brutal about the decisions they made. It was like God, what was what were some of the other ones from back in the days? Like the Super Mario Maker, right? It's
Oh,
people
you just get
made
into a stage and you're like,
aggressive.
oh my
Yeah,
God, what have I got
yeah.
myself into?
People would make maps just to terrorize other people, and I feel
Oh,
like
wow.
that's what I started running into. It was great, and it made for some good laughs. But man, watch out! Those user created maps are no joke.
It's like the GT. It's like the Grand Theft Auto creative maps. I mean, you get
Yes.
on. Oh Lord,
Yep.
that's always a mess. It's always some fun mess. Yeah, I love playing GTA fun maps. Yeah. So, my dear brother, Mr. Star Citizen over there, Mr. Sea of Thieves, how are you doing today, Sourblowm?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Thank you, Miles, for being here with us and hanging out. It's great to, having you here. And lately, I've been playing Dishonor and some Guardian of the Galaxy. I think I'm almost done with it. And I did purchase the Hot Wheel game because my son wants it. He wanted it day one. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying the full amount for it. And then I saw it. I saw the discount, but I still haven't jumped into it. So probably this weekend I would jump into it with my son.
So wait, I got a question for you though. So you pay full amount on a game that doesn't exist, and you won't pay full amount on Hot Wheels that does exist?
You got me there. You kind of got me there. But the difference is that was a game I was excited for. It wasn't.
Oh, that was a game you were. Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
see. Nice.
But
nice,
you
nice,
did got me there. That was a good one.
I know that was a good one. So, to start off the show, let's talk about a little bit and get to know you, Miles. Tell us about you, man. What got you into gaming? Let's start with that. Well, how did you start from the beginning? Tell us about you, man.
What got me into gaming?
Gaming,
Well, it all
yes.
started 30 years ago. No, yeah, I remember my first memory of getting into video games kind of stems from visiting my aunt's house. And I was really little, maybe 5, I want to say. And she had this poster of Hyrule from The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on the wall in her bedroom. And I remember just being like captivated by the bright colors. I was like, "Ooh, what's that? That looks cool." And she's like, "Oh, that's from Zelda." And I'm like, "What Zelda?" And she's like, "Oh, here you go." And she booted up her Super Nintendo, gave me a controller, and I got to dive in and experience this game. And that was the very first game I ever played, and that was the first time I knew what video games could be. And, my little brain didn't really comprehend the gravity of it at the time, but I just really was enamored by it and begged my parents for that Christmas to get a Super Nintendo, please, and they ended up hooking it up. I got a Super Nintendo with Super Mario World and Lawnmower Man, oddly enough, were the first 2 games that I got.
Oh, nice. Game of the
Which
year.
I have fond memories of Lawnmower Man because of that reason, but it was such a weird game. Had the pseudo 3D. If you haven't checked it out, just go on YouTube real quick and look up Lawnmower Man Super Nintendo because they did some really, really ambitious stuff for Super Nintendo. Doesn't mean it was great. I've revisited it just to see if it was truly ahead of its time. It's kind of a mess in a lot of ways, but Super Mario World and Lawnmower Man were the first games. Loved Super Mario World. Played the hell out of it. Eventually, a few months later, I actually got my own copy of A Link to the Past, and that is a game that I beat over and over and over and over again. And then from there, yeah, kind of played any and all games. Had a PS1. Loved PS1. I remember playing Resident Evil 1 way too young, maybe like 8 when I played that for the first time. And then from there, yeah, GameCube, Nintendo 64, original Xbox, and then pretty much once I got old enough to have a job, like a part-time job of my own, I've always tried to have all the consoles. So it's expensive. It's cost a lot of money, but I was always dumb and blew all my money on video games for a long time. And so that's kind of got me into games, and I've always played games. It's been a huge part of my life in terms of like how I interact with friends and how I stay in touch with longtime friends. And now it's, I guess, what I do professionally as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. I mean, wow, Link to the Past was your first video game. Mine was what's it called? Oh, mine was Super Mario and Duck Hunt. And it was also Ghosts and Goblins, which I have like a traumatic thing with that game because I tell everybody that I always talk about the opening scene that there was this guy in the graveyard and they were just sitting there without any nothing. Then the devil comes and just sweeps the princess out and just leaves. And I was like, why is this guy on his underpants in the graveyard? And I was like a little kid. And then I understood what happened. When I got older, I was like, oh, wow, that's the first game that had a pretty weird intro to it. I was like, pretty weird, huh? But yeah. Question for you, Miles. There's a question right there that says, if you had to donate 3 games to humanity and put it in a time capsule, what 3 games would you choose and why?
If I had to donate 3 games to humanity and put them in a time capsule, so obviously Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That's a big one for me.
Right.
That is a game that still holds up to this day in a lot of respects. A game that has influenced a ton of games. So that's going in there. Another one that's going in there for me is Pokemon. Really, you can pick whatever one you want. Any game from the Pokemon franchise, because that is another long time one that's stuck with me. I only have one tattoo, and it's Pokemon. So Pokemon is a huge, important part of my life, and it's one of the things of just pure joy that exists in this world, and there aren't a lot of them to me. So that's why I have a strong fondness for Pokemon. And then my third one, I guess it's kind of tough, but I guess while I'm just talking about it, Legend of Mana, another game for me that
Wow.
completely blew away my expectations for how a game could handle storytelling. It's a non-linear RPG, so it's not conventional. It doesn't follow a straight path where you are the chosen hero. You're defeating at one primary villain, and that's the game's over. It's all these branching paths, and you're meeting all these characters in the world, and like that's where I got introduced to. That was the first time I remember a game talking about like depression and heavier subjects like that, and really going into how that affects individuals. And again, at the time I was young, I didn't really understand what that meant for me, but in hindsight, really important game to me in my life. So Legend of Mana, any Pokemon game, and A Link to the Past. We'll throw those, and humanity can cherish those until the end of time.
So, so Miles, I want to change things on you a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
As to revisit things, kind of like what you do, I want to understand which ones you would end up having to cut. Okay, so going to chatter days, I want to go back to what you do with this, and I want you to decide which one no longer exists.
Oh, I know.
Which one
I
you
know
couldn't
one
play.
already.
Do you-
It starts with the
Does-
C.
Starts with the C. My question is, if we use your formula, does this change that list of games, and which one would you choose to axe if you had to?
All right.
Oh,
So
you mean from the three?
the Xbox
Yes.
Chatter Days formula, which is
Yes.
one still exists. I just don't get to
Yes.
play it. One goes away forever, and then the third is untouched. Okay. Yeah. So
Yes.
again, yeah, it's tough. It's when you start boiling it down to the things you love the most. So I guess the one that would probably go away, unfortunately, would probably be Legend of Mana. If of these three, that's one that goes away. One that still exists, but I don't get to play, I would do A Link to the Past, and then Pokemon would be the one that I, selfishly just get to, keep on playing.
That's your desert island game.
Yes, yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Ultimate comfort game. Can always go back to any Pokemon and just have an amazing time. And so there's something really special about that. And yeah, I don't want to live in a world without Pokemon in general. So yeah, that one is definitely staying of the three.
Yeah, the
Nice.
other day I booted up on what's it called, Pokemon Go. I was like, man, I was flipping through myself. I was like, I have not been on here in a while. I just flipped it on. I was like, oh my god, I got to do a couple things. So yeah, I'm gonna get stuck to it again because I had fun. I remember because here where I live, there's a lot of traffic, and so right there, just start grabbing all the Pokemon on the way while traffic keeps up moving. I got to get into it. It never gets tiring though. It never gets tiring. You're right about that. So, Miles, I got another question for you. What did you do prior to join, and what got you to join before joining the gaming industry and creating content for Windows Central?
Yeah, so I've had a pretty unconventional career path, if you will. So I went to college for audio production. So originally my focus was on sound design for film. That was my big ambition, was to do sound design and sound effects for films. And out of college, I worked on some independent films, did a lot of freelance work, and kind of had a miserable experience with it. Was not what I wanted it to be in terms of how I was treated and how I was paid. And there were a lot of issues that I had working or freelance in the film industry. And that kind of soured my interest in that. So still passionate about sound. Music was a big reason I got into audio production in general. So from there, I did some voice acting. So I studied with Scott Burns, who is the voice of Bowser in a bunch of the Nintendo GameCube Mario games, and he's done a bunch of other gaming related stuff as well. But studied voice acting with him for a time, did some commercial voice acting, like literal commercials, like radio style commercials. So I did that for a little bit. All the while, this is kind of been a side thing for me, and I'm working my main job, which is basically a district training manager for a company in Washington called Fred Meyer. So I worked in the home electronics department, selling video game consoles, TVs, etc. And I was the person who would train all the people who wanted to become managers of departments to become managers. So that was kind of my gig there. Worked with our district manager and found all the right locations for that. So decent job, paid well, had decent responsibilities. And then we moved to California. And then from California, I ended up working in the alcohol industry. I had some friends who worked in sales who convinced me that I should give it a shot. And so from there, I spent a lot of time climbing the old corporate ladder, if you will. So I worked for a company called Southern Wine and Spirits, and I was the basically district manager or territory manager for Huntington Beach. And then I won territory manager of the year, and got all these accolades and got promoted. And then I got basically recruited by another company, and I was their sales manager for Southern California. So I covered 4 counties in Southern California as a business development specialist and sales manager for Kraft Los Angeles. So yeah, paid well. And gaming's always been something that I was doing on the side. So during all of this, I had my own video game blog for a bit, was making videos, writing articles, did all this. And then it got to a point where after doing that for a few years, despite it paying well, I was like, this isn't what I want to do long term. I need to start making some steps to get myself where I want to be. And that's where I want to be, is in the games industry. So oddly enough, one of the sister sites for Windows Central posted that they were looking for a Pokemon writer, someone to focus on Pokemon content. So applied for that. I was like, you know what? Even if I'm just doing it on the side, I'm just going to throw my name in the hat. So put up my resume. They saw that I had video production experience, and they were like, hey, you want to do some social content for Windows Central Gaming's Twitter? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'll dabble. I'll give that a shot. So I started doing just like basically videos with text for social, like square format videos for social. And then from there, I got some more opportunities to kind of editorialize and get my voice out there. And then it kind of evolved into what I do now, which is pretty much running the Windows Central Gaming YouTube channel. And yeah, now more or less now, that is my full-time job.
Yeah, and seriously, just watching you every Saturday and Xbox Saturdays is pretty awesome. I mean, all the stuff you bring, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, I met you by Mr. Joanna Dark and Silent Cipher, and I was like, whoa, let me see what's up with Miles. And I jumped on there, talked about, and saw everything you do on those Saturdays. Man, it's a fun show. It's really entertaining, and all the guests you bring on. And there's another question for you here. It says, well, Miles, what made you jump into the gaming industry, and where did you hope to go within gaming?
Yeah, so like I've talked about, gaming has been a
Yeah.
huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And even when I was working my other jobs, which were, respectable jobs that paid well, and a lot of people would be happy doing those jobs. And I know I still have a lot of friends who still do that and are happy doing that. But I've always wanted to be involved in the gaming industry because I love the creative process of video games. I love listening to someone explain why they love a game. I love experiencing something people have spent their lives on and kind of having that connection with something. And there's just something so incredibly powerful about the gaming medium that nothing else can do. As much as I love music, as much as I love movies, video games do things that just cannot be done anywhere else. And that to me is incredibly special, and I've always connected with that in such a meaningful way. So I've wanted to be involved, and long term, I would love to see myself involved more on the kind of creative side of it, and whether that be empowering devs, working with teams to help see their projects through, or whether that be I dabble in voice acting still because it's something I'm passionate about. Whether it be getting my voice within games. I just want to be a part of that, be a part of the process of bringing games to people and letting people experience games.
So here's the thing, though. This is a good question for you. What creative team would you like to be a part of? If you got an opportunity and say, hey, I want to join this creative team, what creative team would you love to be a part of and work with them on a game? Which team would you like to be a part of?
Okay, so what developer, basically?
Yeah, what developer? Yeah.
Throw me with From Software. I want to see behind the scenes the brainstorming that goes into some of the weird nonsense that they come up with, because they always find a way to do something that I've never seen before and introduce some weird creature and some monstrosity that I would never imagine. And I would love to be behind the scenes seeing the conversations that led to some of that stuff. So From Software, in my opinion, is one of the best modern developers, and to be involved with that creative process, that'd be something really special.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like Elden Ring. It's the way you play it, right? I always start off from the beginning. I always go to the beginning part of the game every time I turn it on. And I say, okay, let me put it in nighttime mode. And I just start walking. And all of a sudden I see a new boss over here. I was like, oh, let me fight this new boss. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's like a cave. You're like, whoa, what is this cave? You go in this cave. There's a lot of things in there, just different types of bosses, different types of enemies. It's a lot of fun. I mean, just like you said, it would be fun to pick at the brains and see how they come up with these weird monsters. I mean, they're all weird, they're all messed up. It's like and literally they kick your butt. I mean, they're not forgivable. Like, come over here and just let me beat you up. And
you know what's funny, crazy?
What's up?
Now that Miles says, it would be cool to pick their brain and see how they come up with all these ideas. George R.R. Martin, which I'm a huge fan of him, I saw an interview, and they were asking him how he came up, with Game of Thrones and all his ideas. And he was explaining how he would play as a kid as younger with turtles. And that's where he started getting his ideas. And I'm like, wait, how do you get Game of Thrones out of playing with turtles? And it's it's a little bit like creepy at the same time. Like, whoa.
The human brain is fascinating because, like you said, there's these connections that are exclusive to that individual. Nobody else in the world would play with turtles and then end up writing a Song of Fire and Ice. So, that's what's fascinating about games, is because no two people would ever make the same game, ever.
Although that being said, he was involved in the making of Elden Ring, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you figure that probably explains a lot when you're going across the beach in that game and you find those weird looking turtle monsters that look like just a giant coil of like yarn or whatever is like just starts like attacking you at random and stuff. I feel like that was, that idea, the turtle evolved into, like, as he got older, right? Like he jumped in and was like, this is what I've envisioned all these years. Those
This is the
turtles.
evolution of the turtles.
No, but there is actually like an actual king turtle in the game, isn't there? Like you walk around, all of a sudden you meet this big old turtle and talks to
The
you.
turtle pope.
The turtle pope.
The turtle
yes,
with the pope hat.
That explains a lot. Since you said that, I was like, why is there a turtle in this game? I'm like, why is this big turtle here? I was like, what is this, man? Seriously, oh man. Oh man. Oh, another question. Would you voice the Code Veronica remake?
Would I? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Maybe I could make it good this time around. We'll see.
Oh, please do. Oh, please do. Oh, please do. Oh man. Like I said, there's only one good thing about that game and that's when Chris Redfield comes out and fights Wesker. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. I mean, that game was just I never what was that game made anyways? Because I mean it was about two brothers, wasn't it? I forgot the name of one and the other one. It was like a weird virus thing. I don't even know. I forgot about
That was the one where they transitioned from like campy 80s inspired horror to anime. Like they just went all in on the anime side of that, and they're like, you know what, this game is just going to be complete nonsense. And you know, they dialed it back in future ones and managed to balance the campy horror and the anime together better with stuff like Resident Evil 4, which has its cheesy moments for sure. Resident Evil 4, as much as I love it, oh my god, it gets so corny. But Code Veronica, that was the pendulum shifting way too far in one direction, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I'd say you're dead on with that one.
But I know Mr. Joanna Dark loves it. He loves it. I know other people love Code Veronica. I'm not here to tell you not to love Code Veronica.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking, you know, because they talk about how there's going to be a remaster of it eventually, maybe, right? I figure that'll probably come out right around the same time as Star Citizen does. So we've got a while. Maybe that'll give them enough time. Maybe that'll give them enough time to make it a good experience, right?
I mean, I just hope they just skip it. It doesn't need to come back. It sounds like they're doing 4, so it sounds like they're making the right call and saying, you know what, we're just moving past that. We're doing 4. We'll move on to 4, and then from there we'll reevaluate. But
I was kind of surprised that wasn't the game that you chose, that you sacrificed to time and no one could ever play it at all. I was kind of surprised.
I thought that was a choice too.
Yeah, me too. I was like that would have been an excellent choice to disappear that game, just get it far away.
Code Veronica into the ether.
Yes, get it far away. No more.
Yep.
Ooh, now let's get into one of my favorite subjects. Let's talk about a little bit about horror. Oh man, I love horror movies. I saw Scream the other day. I remember you talked about it, and I saw it, and I was like, "Whoa, this is actually a good Scream movie from the last one." The last one was good, but not as good as this one. I like how everything played out. I like the way the bad guys did what they did. It was fun. It was fun. So Miles, tell me about your horror stuff. I mean, you love that stuff. What are your favorite horror movies? Oh, I really want to get to know all about that. I want to pick a little bit on that. Yeah.
So horror, like video games, huge part of my life. Been a part of my life since I arguably was way too young. So you could either say my parents were really cool parents or they were really bad parents, depending on how you want to look at it. Because I was watching R-rated horror movies when I was less than 10, for sure. Watching stuff like Evil Dead 2, Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, watching a lot of the quintessential classics. And as I was growing up, part of my family's weekly routine, we had a weekly movie night. But instead of watching, you know, what a typical your family friendly, your PG movies with the family, we would watch B horror movies. We would go to like Hollywood Video and we would pick out the dumbest looking horror movie we could and we would watch that. And it was just amazing to sit there with my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, and watch these really, really campy horror movies. Yeah. And it was just this amazing routine. And as I got older, I started sharing that experience with friends. And, you know, late on Friday night, when we were done with school for the week, we would go to our local Hollywood Video and we would rent things like Zombies, and Leprechaun Back to the Hood, and all of these really terrible, terrible movies.
Yes.
Ginger Dead Man, and we would just laugh. We would just laugh at the absurdity of it all. And yeah, some of my all-time favorite horror movies, Evil Dead 2, really, really big one for me. I love Hereditary as a really good modern horror film. I love the Conjuring universe.
I love
Um,
The Conjuring.
Which is Hereditary? I forgot. Did I see that?
Hereditary is like it's more of like a family drama with horror elements. It's got a really particularly upsetting scene with a young girl who has an allergic reaction. That's all I need to say if you've seen it to jog your memory there. But Hereditary, powerful.
Right.
So yeah, horror, love it. Watch horror movies weekly at the very least.
Oh man, me too. I mean, if
Did-
I could catch it, go
Oh
Salvo.
no, I was gonna ask. Where did you watch a lot of? I think it was called Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah,
The
the old
channel?
sci-fi channel.
Sci-Fi
Yeah,
channel, yeah.
absolutely. What was on there? Was Xena Warrior Princess on there? I know that there was like Xena and Hercules, and I don't remember
Was,
if they
yes.
were on Sci-Fi Channel or not. But I
I
watched
don't
both of
think it was on
those,
Sci-Fi.
and then Sci-Fi always played the reruns of the B horror movies. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that-
watched a lot of Sci-Fi.
Sharknado is the best one of them all.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna get killed for that.
I watched like 15 minutes of that movie, and I was like, "What is
Hey,
going
it-
on in here?"
Hey, it's a movie about a tornado with sharks on it. You can't see that only. It wasn't a sci-fi. I think it was a sci-fi movie, wasn't it?
Probably,
You also-
yeah. Most likely.
Yeah. Sci-fi had the weirdest. That was the weirdest movies I've seen all my life. I mean, there was like Octoshark. I forgot the name.
They had
that,
a
like,
lot of weird.
Yeah, they
Yes.
have really.
Yeah,
They
my
have a
aunt,
lot
my
of-
aunt used
lot
to
of those
sit
direct
and watch
DVDs.
sci-fi all day, and I used to sit with her sometimes, and I used to be like, "What am I even watching? Like, what are these movies? Don't even have like a reasonable plot. It's like it's all over the place."
Just absolute chaos,
Yeah.
just beautiful chaos is how I would look at that.
Yeah.
Also watched a ton of Tales from the Crypt, big one,
Oh.
big into that, and X-Files. That was like I could stay up late on school nights and watch X-Files because we were
I
really
watched
big
some
into
X-Files.
that. So
I miss Tales from the Crypt so much. The Crypt Keeper is awesome. I miss it. I wish I could just buy the whole package and just have it here, just watch it every day. Oh man, I miss it. Tales from the Crypt was a little. I thought they were like gonna remake it, but what they made was what's this one? Is Tales from something? Tales from not the Crypt. There was another one. There's a Tales from the Crypt, and there's another one. I forgot the name. It's called what was it?
the new one,
I
if
remember
you
it's
have
actually asking. Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say Tales from the Dark Side. Is that what that is?
I don't remember.
That
Or
was
is that a
that
different
one's
Tales?
older, but I have seen
Oh.
Tales from the Dark Side for sure. That intro, if you haven't seen that intro, YouTube Tales from the Dark Side intro, it's so good. It's not as good as Tales from the Crypt, but it is very unsettling and very cheesy. But Tales from the Dark Side, really good. If you have Shudder, the new Creep Show is really fun too. If you love classic Tales from the Crypt, it does a really it does a really good job like capturing that
Yeah.
feel. Like it's hit and miss. Some of them are way better than others, but every now and then there's just a really, really good episode where like Santa has to like fight a horde of demons and stuff like that, and it's it's good.
Oh man, horror. Since we're now in the horror subject, like for example, what is your favorite horror game? Like you can sit down and you're like got you scared and stuff. What's your favorite horror?
Horror game. That's tough as well because I played a
That's tough.
ton of horror. I would say, I guess if I have to just pick one, it's probably Silent Hill 2, which I know a lot of people cite when we talk about like their favorite or the best horror games. But God, it was if you played that when it came out, it was such an intense experience, and it's
Yeah.
one of those games I'll never forget because the tension, the atmosphere, everything about it was just perfectly horror. Resident Evil I've always loved, and Resident Evil scared the hell out of me when I was really little. But it was a lot of jump scares. It was just stuff smashing through windows, and
Yeah.
that really got you. And Silent Hill, took away the rocket launchers, took away the weapons, and it was just you and these monsters, and you didn't really understand what was happening in this world, and there was something just really unsettling about the entire experience, the visuals, the gross bodies just like skimmering on the ground, and Silent Hill 2. One of the all-time greats.
I always get lost in Silent Hill 2. I have the HD version. I popped it in the other day, and I was like, what the hell am I going? Just run around like, what am I supposed to do? I get lost. So one of these days, I'm just gonna sit down, put the laptop on, put YouTube, and be like, okay, guide me just through the first part, because it's always at the beginning. You know, the guy is like looking. I think it's it for his daughter. Is he looking? He's looking for his daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah. He's
In the
looking for his
first one,
daughter.
and then the second one, he got a letter from his wife, who's
From
dead.
his wife. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah. But I always get lost. So yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down one day to understand, because I don't know why I get lost in that game. I seriously do not know why. But man, did you ever play the Clock Tower series in D2?
I didn't play Clock Tower. I've watched people play the first one, but that's a series I didn't really even know about until much later in life. So by the time they had already come out, by the time they had come out is when I first heard about them. So I haven't gone back. I've watched Let's Plays on YouTube though of the original. And yeah, like that's a game I'm bummed that I missed. Again, like if you're in the US, there are good reasons why you probably missed it, because it was not a big mainstream game in the United States. Yeah. But yeah, that series, I would love to see people revisit the Clock Tower, and I would love to see somebody come and revisit Fatal Frame as like these weird Japanese horror franchises that never really caught on in a big way in the US, because they have fundamentally really cool ideas.
But they're still making Fatal Frame. I don't know how the new ones are. Do they still have that same feeling? Because I'm gonna tell you something though. I played the first Fatal Frame, but I couldn't beat it because it was all in Japanese. I couldn't understand none, right? And beforehand, we did not have internet, so I like to hop on like let me to read about it. So I played it in the Japanese version, but then I got Fatal Frame 2. And I played Fatal Frame 2, and man, I remember that when there's a part where you get to the well, and when that little girl comes out, I was like, no, that's it. I turned off the game. I said, nah, I ain't playing this. No way, no.
Fatal Frame 2 is one of the best horror games, but one of the scariest for sure. The Crimson Butterfly, like the director's cut edition of that game, so good, and like so few people have played it. And unfortunately, Fatal Frame 4 or Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water, whatever the newest one is, it's way more arcadey. It's still got some horror elements, but they spend way more time making it feel like a on-rails shooter almost in some ways. So it's not even close to as scary. It's way more cheesy, and it's unfortunate. Still like it. Still a fun game. And still horror adjacent, but it's not scary, especially compared to Fatal Frame 2.
Yeah, I don't know why these games they always turn to that action stuff. I mean, I want to go back and just make it scary. I want to have that feeling like, okay, this is gonna come up and grab me by my feet or throw me or do something, like something scary, something freaky. Like you were saying about Silent Hill, because Silent Hill is a game where it plays with your head. You have a radio on you. You run, and whatever enemy comes close, you ready to start screeching real bad. You're like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Put you on edge immediately.
You're like, where is it? Where's it? And all of a sudden, boom, just comes out. You're like, oh my God, here it is, And you got like this 2x4, and you're trying to hit it. This thing is just quick enough. But yeah, that psychological thing is, I think one game that actually did have it nowadays is what's it called? This good game with the guy with the camera. I think it's Outlast, right? Is it Outlast?
Oh yeah, Outlast. Yeah,
Outlast. Yes, that's the game that's a pretty freaky game. That game is Also, another game that they should also bring up that really had messed up with your head was the one with that you're a police officer. What's it called? Silent Cypher. Condemned. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
they need to bring that. I wish would come back.
Yes.
That was like one of my favorite launch titles on 360. That was such a good game.
It was funny because it was in a time, right, where we were shifting in the visual effects and stuff, right? So I remember, and this is something I don't think I've really seen since, but I remember getting like OXM magazine or something, and I remember looking at the pages and they were showing examples and like samples of the ground, like the floor and the detail of the floor and how they were working with like the bump mapping and all that stuff. Like it was one of those games where it had so much text, so much going into it, and it was just so atmospheric. Like games like that, I feel like you don't see stuff in that same vein as often, which is a bummer because you did see it with Outlast a little bit, but I feel like nothing scratched that same itch as Condemned has.
Yeah, that's back when the transition when textures were a thing. I mean, we had textures on OG Xbox and PS2, but it wasn't a selling point for most games. It was just there to make it look somewhat believable. And then into 360s when we really started seeing people talk about those things because they could, demonstrate how that would impact the experience, and they could actually have the technology to deliver an experience that had elevated textures, had believable environments. And yeah, Condemned, such a great showcase for kind of what the quote unquote next gen was going to look like.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I missed that game so much, and I was like, man, I hope one day they sit down and say, hey, let's make part 3. Oh, game's so much fun.
I keep hoping. I think it was the lead dev. He ended up separating away from the team years back, and I remember seeing, I think it was like a Twitter or some message from the guy, and he was kind of like putting fillers out there. He was like, hey, Microsoft, Sony, whoever, like if anyone's interested in doing another game, I'm all for it. And like it went radio silent after that, which made me hopeful that maybe he'd been scooped up and something was in the works and we just weren't going to hear anything for a while. But that's been years, unfortunately. Like I keep hoping, but I just don't think it's coming. Sadly.
Gotta keep the hope alive, That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Yes.
Oh. So out of all the horror characters, which one is your favorite? Which is your favorite horror character in movie? Like which is your favorite?
My favorite horror character in a movie, it's Ash from Evil Dead for sure. Ash from Army of Darkness specifically. The best combination of just camp and charisma. Like that as much as Army of Darkness, it's not my favorite of the Evil Dead movies because I like Evil Dead 2's blend of campy and actual horror more. Ash in Army of Darkness, so iconic. So many of the best one-liners of any movie ever are in that movie. And yeah, if I'm picking one, it's got to be Ash for sure.
It was really good too, right? Because like all of the most dynamic characters came from that too. It's just like when they started advertising the game, is like you see Eric the Red and you see all those characters, you see Evil Ash and stuff. And it's like that's where you came, like you were saying, it had the most campy, but also just so much like there was just so much love put into that one. You could kind of tell like it just oozed fanfare and like B-movie comedy, and they knew what it was. And it's like that's why it's held up so well over the years. Is like you can go back to it and it just holds up that he's just kind of a jerk, and he's got that comedic side. And granted, the visuals haven't held up, but the movie is still so good.
I still watch it probably every year. It's such a good movie just to put on and laugh at. And the fact that Bruce Campbell didn't explode after that movie it's kind of a tragedy because he absolutely killed that role. And then he just went on to, it's his niche, and he's carved his niche, and he's a legendary figure in the horror community for a lot of reasons. Has done amazing movies. Bubba Hotep, if you haven't seen that, one of my favorites from him. He plays an Elvis impersonator fighting off a mummy at an old folks home. So good. So many great Bruce Campbell roles. But the fact that he didn't, propel himself beyond that with Army of Darkness, a little disappointing, gotta say.
How about the TV series? Did you like it?
Yeah, actually, I'm getting ready to rewatch that now as I'm preparing for Evil Dead the game. I'm watching all the movies, Evil Dead 1, 2 remake, and Army of Darkness, and then I'm watching the series as well. But series really good. The series leans way more into the camp, into the cheesy factor of it, and Bruce Campbell and Ash as a character just being a big doofus, which is fun, and they have a lot of fun with it. So if you love Army of Darkness, it captures that vibe really, really well. Tons of gore, tons of terrible one-liners, and tons of Ash.
Yeah. I was really sad that he just said, "I'm not doing Ash anymore." I was like, "No, why? You
I
gotta
know
finish
that
this."
that post where he was hanging up his blue shirt. I was like, damn, end of an era.
Yes, it is. He should have finished that show because seriously, but it keeps on going. Because oh man, it was a fun show. He got new friends, new allies, doing all crazy stuff. Oh man, I got up to season 2, and when I heard that that he wasn't doing it anymore, I was like, oh, I don't want to watch season 2 anymore. I just want to leave it right there and see. Hope. Yeah, I don't want to get that sad thing, that sad feeling that's it. He's gone.
That's it.
Yeah.
They wrap it up nicely at least. So if you do want to see it through, it's not like abrupt. It doesn't feel like it just randomly ends at the very least. Like they made sure that when the 3rd season ended that it was done at least. So there's at least a sense of closure in some degree, but yeah, it made me sad.
Yeah, because but Ash goes back in time, comes back, and now he's like 60 or 70 years old in the series. I don't know how old was he in the series. He's like pretty old.
Yeah, I think 60. Yeah,
60, something like that. And the whole series just started off so funny. And what's the other guy? There was a priest in there, wasn't there? A priest or something? Is Ally or he was like the Spanish guy's name? What was his name? Oh my god, I forgot. That was so funny.
Pablo,
yes. Oh
yeah, he's hilarious.
That was great. Oh man. Oh man.
Miles, going back to old video games, right? Old horror games. I was wondering, did you ever end up playing Clive Barker's The Undying?
I didn't play The Undying, but I did play Clive Barker's Jericho on Xbox 360.
Oh, okay, yes. The banger, the mid.
Wow.
Oh.
Me and a buddy, when that came out, we had this running competition / joke where it was a race to see who could get all the achievements in. I had to do Clive Barker's Jericho. I had to get all the achievements in that, and he had to get all the achievements in Two Worlds, which were both like infamously bad games on Xbox 360. And neither one of us did it, but for a couple weeks we were heads down trying to make it happen. I got to the hardest difficulty of Clive Barker's Jericho. I was like, I just can't. It's not even fun in the best circumstances, so I just can't do it.
I think you probably ended up winning on that deal, though, because I talked to a friend who got pretty deep into Two Worlds. He was doing the achievement hunting too, and I remember his sales pitch for that game at the time, which still to this day just kind of makes me laugh. He's like, well, after about 8 hours, it gets great. And I was like, that is not a selling point for a video game. If you tell me that I have to play for 8 hours before it gets good, like that's a no.
Yeah, it's like when someone says, "Oh, you got to watch this series after the first season. It's good." I'm like, so I got like 10 to 12 episodes before it gets good? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to dedicate to something if it's not going to be good within the first half hour or so.
Here's a good question. And yes, did you ever play the Thing video game? Oh my god, that game.
Yes, The Thing. I played it on OG Xbox. Legit, one of the better kind of licensed games of that era. Stupidly difficult though. There are like difficulty spikes that just come out of nowhere, and it's a huge wall. But outside of that, they did such a good job capturing the atmosphere of that world. I would love to see someone revisit that with modern tech.
I was actually telling myself, and I always told, like, you remember when Phil announced backwards compatibility, right? I was like, oh my god, I just hope. I always kept my fingers crossed. Please bring the Thing back. I want to play that game again. Oh man, I played it so much in Xbox and I had so much fun with it. And here's the thing though, I was young, and as a young guy, I was like, okay, here's the thing. this is cool. I was like, okay, flamethrower, let's burn this monster down, all that stuff. But I didn't like really caught up to the story real well. But then, like nowadays, I just because as you get older, you kind of forget things. And so I was like, let me go back and let me see something real quick. And so I saw what the story was about, and it was about a team that dives down and continues about what happened to Childs and what's the other. I keep forgetting the main character's name.
McCready.
McCready,
Yeah.
yeah. And what happened to McCready and stuff. And so you see him also in the game. I was like, oh my god, that's the continuation of that movie. Which, of course, it's not 100%. But yeah, oh, I just said now I want to play it again. I want to sit down. I want to play. I watched it like 2 or 3 days ago. I watched it. Say, let me watch the thing. It's been a while since I watched it. And watched it, and man, I just love the effects of that. The effects of that movie are just awesome. They're incredible. I mean, just the way the head comes off and it grows feet. The dog
Yeah.
and oh man, I mean, John Carpenter is
The head
awesome doing that.
spider.
And you know
The
what?
head spider.
And me and Silent Cypher were talking about it the other day, and
Mhm.
we found out that he's actually want to do a sequel to it.
Yep.
Yep, he's working on
Yep.
making a sequel. I hope that happens because seriously, the movie ends, and I was like, what happens to these two? They're just gonna sit there and die of the cold. What's gonna happen to the alien? Because the alien is pretty fast. I mean, it's a thing that it just gets to you. You don't know how the heck it gets to you. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
those tendrils, right? It's those tendrils
Yeah.
that shoot out of it and like grab everything around it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you remember something that people that sometimes they miss. You remember when he was with the burning the wire, burning the blood, right?
Yes.
Remember that
Mhm.
blood sample that jumped off and just ran away? What
Mhm.
happened to that blood sample? That's the question I always ask myself after I watch the movie. Where did that blood sample go? Who did it stick to?
It merged
It's
back. It
it's
merged
to
back with the rest.
you
That's what I
think?
like to think, so I can sleep
Uh,
better.
Sleep better?
Uh,
Oh,
I,
oh man.
I've got a bit of a guilty admission for that, right? Because we were talking. You just mentioned we were talking about that a little bit. Miles, you talk about watching stuff way too early, right? This is one of those ones too where I'm like, do I get the cool parent or maybe concerning parent? My son just watched The Thing with me a couple days ago. We actually just finished it last night, and yeah, that's I didn't want to introduce him to horror movies the same way I did because I did the same thing. My brother had me watching Friday the 13th, all that stuff when I
Yes.
was like 5 or 6. Stuff you should never watch that young. But for some reason, brother decides that he knows best and he needed to introduce me to horror. Um, but yeah, so I ended up pulling that same thing. And when you were talking about that earlier, I was like, oof. I did the same thing that both you ended up going into, and the same thing that I was put into as well. Which I I think it was good, right? Like it gave you fun as a kid because you were scared of that type of stuff, but like it's not like it was harmful necessarily. Short of
Yeah, I
some
feel
like
like
short
in the
moments.
grand scheme of things, it turned out to be a well-rounded individual.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I know people are very conservative about horror, but
yeah.
I would probably be the exact same way if I had a kid currently. I'd be like, you know what? All right, you're about 6. It's time to boot up the thing. Time to watch Evil Dead 2. Let's go.
It's I will say it was really hard waiting until then. And I've got a daughter that's 12, and I still can't watch movies like that with her. But my son that is 7, I can totally watch these things with. And it's just like different personalities, they take it differently. My
Hmm.
son is like me, where it's like you could watch a terrible, like scary movie and just go to bed. My
Yep.
daughter, not the same. So I was happy I had like a little mini me that I could kind of like mold to an extent, like carefully, but you know,
Yeah, it's
don't
weird
judge.
nowadays because when we were young, I remember my father took me to watch Terminator 2.
Oh yeah.
I saw Aliens.
Yeah.
I saw all these movies. My first scary movie I saw was Friday the 13th. Jason Takes Over Manhattan. That was my first scary movie I saw, and the movie I was mostly scared was Chucky. I was afraid of Chucky.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh man,
that one got me too.
I mean, I was frightened by Chucky. Oh, and Puppet Master. Oh my
yes.
God. Oh Lord.
Is Puppet
Another
Master the one
Now
with
we're
all the
talking.
dolls?
what?
Yes.
Is
Yep.
that the one
Master
with
what?
all the dolls? Okay,
Yes.
that movie I was afraid of because my grandma had a bunch of dolls like that, and I
Oh
used to
no.
hate those dolls.
No. Don't talk about. I mean, seriously, don't tell me about dolls. I mean, there's nothing
Uh,
in the world that creeps. I mean, I was playing Resident Evil 8 the other day, and I saw this doll, and I was like, no. I was about just to quit the game. I was about
Yeah.
to quit the game. My dolls and me, no. They just don't go with me. Oh no. But yeah, but later on in life, I was like, let me rent Chucky. Let me see who is Chucky. But when I saw that Charles Lee Ray does the voodoo thing, I was like, so now I know it's Charles Lee Ray, and all of a sudden I just started laughing. So I found the movie funny. But Sarah Blow, did you know that I used to have Blade as a doll from Puppet Master? You know who Blade is? The skull doll with the knife and the hook.
Switchblade hand.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had
Boy.
that. I had that doll. I don't know where it got to. I think it ran away. It came alive, ran away. But I had that doll, and I loved it so much. And I also had a Chucky doll, and I used to hide it in my friend's room. Like, let me put it right here because I went to high school in Florida, and I just did crazy stuff with the Chucky doll. I put it in rooms. I scared everybody, which is like, I just came out running in the shower and stuff. Oh my God, man! I did everything bad with that Chucky doll. I had so much fun. Oh man, oh man. Dolls, I mean, no. Just don't go. Oh no. Oof. Oh, Lord.
Okay.
So
So, oh,
go
sorry.
go.
Can I jump in one?
Go.
Okay.
No.
So, Miles, I do have one more very important question.
Very important. All right.
Very important question. So, obviously, we got the movie that, put their take on it and how they thought it would go. But I want to know what you think. Freddy versus Jason, which one would actually win?
Freddy versus Jason, which one would actually win? It really comes down to if Jason needs to sleep, because if Jason doesn't need to sleep and he's this weird entity that can just exist, then Freddy can't do anything.
Well, except for, right, like if everyone around Jason is sleeping, right, that gives Freddy more power to transcend even into real world scenarios, right, where he could actually hurt Jason.
I guess that's true.
yeah.
As fun as that premise was, it's absolutely ridiculous. And
Yes.
that movie, I remember laughing so hard watching it for the
Yes.
first time because of
It's
how
so bad.
it wasn't even, they weren't even using like their powers. It was just like two
No.
dudes in terrible costumes fist fighting. I'm like, what? Who signed off on this? Like,
Yeah.
Freddy's not even going to turn into like a giant dream snake. They're just going to
No.
fist fight on like a dock. This movie is so stupid.
They could have done so many cool things
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Because you look at both movies, they had so much material to pull from.
Yeah, and they just ignored all of it and said,
Yeah, they're like, oh,
Huh?
that looks cool. We're gonna do this though.
First
It's
things
like,
first. First things first. In that movie, they took away Kane Hodder. That got me mad. I was like, it had to be Kane
Yeah.
Hodder versus Robert Englund. They took
Yeah.
away the real Jason for me. That was the real Jason. All my life, I'll say it, for me, Jason is Kane Hodder. Best one out of them all.
Yeah, the Jason in that one definitely looked like he was way too fragile. Like very thin, very like stocky, but just not opposing at all. I don't know. That was a bad choice.
Yeah. Oh man, but the new movie, did you like it? The new Freddy Krueger or no?
oh, I thought it was okay. I wasn't
me too.
offended by it.
Me too.
I enjoyed it for the most part, but I definitely wasn't a fan of whatever they did with the mask. That
Yeah.
was weird. I don't know. Like the character and everything seemed all right, and I don't mind that that actor, but man, that mask was so bad.
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah. So let's start with the news topics. Let's start doing this right now. But beforehand, let me say what's up to the chat. Let's say hello, because yeah, we've been here for an hour and not said hello. So let's start with Mr. Tony Grasso. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Hope you are doing awesome, my dear brother. Project X Talk. That is the young Ryan Reynolds. That's what I call him because he does look like young Ryan Reynolds behind the camera. How are you doing? Welcome to the show, brother. Happy to see you here, really. Let me see. Go down the list. Here we go. Okay. Black Artie, hello. What's up, my brother? How are you doing? Keep on going, keep on going. Internal Opera. Hello, brother. Happy to see you here also. Keep going down the list. Let's go. Victor Click, familia, ¿cómo tú estás, mi querido hermano? Me alegra verte aquí, hermanito mío. Qué bueno que estás aquí con nosotros. Doom Reaper, hello, Mr. Doom. How are you doing, Mr. Doom, man? We're waiting for that new Doom, right? I'm anxious for it. I can't wait for them to announce it. Please. But let's announce the ID so for announce that game soon. I miss Doom so much. Please. Or Wolfenstein. That's what it's called in German. Wolfenstein. That's another game they need to announce. What was this here? Jay Vargas, how are you doing, my brother? Happy to see you here. And let me see. Who else is here? Keep going down the list. I think. Oh, wait. The Fifth Horseman, how are you doing, Fifth Horseman? Welcome, sir. How are you doing today? And that's about it. Let's keep on going, guys. So we should start on with the subjects. We got a couple little subjects to talk about real quick. So we should start with the rapid fire news. We got some quick news to go by. The House of the Dead remake possible coming to Xbox. Are you a fan of this franchise? How are you, Miles? A big fan of this franchise?
Yeah. Used to play a ton of House of the Dead at the movie theater in my town. They had like 4 arcade cabinets. They had Ridge Racer, House of the Dead 2, and I forget what the other 2 are, but we always played House of the Dead 2 before we saw a movie, and it was just this tradition. And I have fond memories of buying House of the Dead 3 and the light gun on the OG Xbox. So yeah, I would, if that comes to Xbox, I will buy it in a heartbeat. It's on Switch now. The speculation is that it might come this month, but that would be such a weird exclusive window, like a couple weeks. A Nintendo Switch exclusive for a few weeks. So I don't know what's going on, but I'll buy it on Xbox if it comes.
Yeah, I miss playing that game. I had a lot of fun with it. I remember going to the arcade and just boom, shooting everything. That was a money stealer for me. I always put quarters in there. I had a lot of fun with it. How about you, Silent Cypher? Are you a big fan of it? Would you play it if it jumps out on Xbox, buddy?
I would absolutely play that. That's just like what Miles was saying. Is like I'm all for anything like that coming to the system. It'd just be something a little different, right? We don't get a lot of stuff like that right now. I would like something a little, just a different change of pace. It'd be nice.
Yeah. How about you, Sour Blow? Tell me, are you a big fan of House of the Dead? Have you played it in the arcade? Would you buy it if it comes to Xbox? And also, they should make a gun for it. We miss those guns, shooting on the screen. We miss all that stuff. Yep. We need a gun.
Yeah, now we're talking.
We're talking, yes. Gun.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't played it. And so I would probably not purchase it unless, I find a deal, or unless, the crew wants to play. I'm always down to playing, especially if you guys, kind of all want to hang out. I'm down to any cooperative or multiplayer game. I feel like playing with friends it definitely makes almost any game fun, except Code Veronica.
Oh, so we're still pitching on the Code Veronica.
Yeah, throwing the shade.
Man.
The sad thing is I don't know that House of the Dead remake is online. I think it's got 2-player local, at least on Switch. I don't imagine they're going to change it drastically with the Xbox version, but yeah, if that had online,
that would be money. Like serious, doing a Friday night co-op with 3 of your friends, jumping on there with you.
Yeah. So
those light guns.
Also, guys, QuakeCon will be a digital event again for 2022. Oh man, all these events are being digital. When are they gonna just make it all just for people to go? I mean, I want to go visit one of these places. I want to go. No, digital. Oh Lord. Also, what's it called? Nacon has announced a new game, new IP called Hell Is Us from Rogue Factor, led by former Deus Ex art director. Have you seen the trailer, Miles? Did you see the trailer for Hell Is Us?
I'm very intrigued. They're obviously
Yes.
tapping into some horror elements, and they obviously are big fans of Death Stranding. There are like
Ooh,
the,
they
the
are.
comparisons to Death Stranding that are really, really obvious to the point where I feel like they're borrowing a little too heavily. But that being said, the world and the atmosphere has me very interested.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, hack and slash. I was like, I'm in it. Every time I see something with hack and slash, I'm in it. I love hack and slash games.
When
What?
when I started seeing the trailer, the very
Yeah.
beginning of it kind of reminded me of like a Remedy game. I don't know why. And then it kind of transitioned, and then I was like, oh wait, what is this? Because it kind of reminded me a little bit like maybe Control or Quantum. What is it called?
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break. And then it kind of shifts, and then I saw a guy with a sword and a drone, and I'm like, oh, what is this? It has me intrigued, definitely.
As
No,
you intrigued, brother?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. No,
Oh, yeah.
when I saw it, I saw it in bits and pieces when I ended up watching it because cell service is a nightmare at my work. And so I got to watch like 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there. But from what I saw, it looks good and it had me intrigued, and I definitely agree with what Miles was saying. It feels like it's borrowing a little heavily in some areas. But you know what? I would play it. I'm interested in seeing where they go with it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but when I saw the teaser, was it yesterday? Sarbo played it, and I was like, "Whoa, this actually looks real fun." And I said, "It's got like a little bit like of modern stuff and with swords." I was like, "This is gonna be a fun game." And now hearing from you, Miles, that it's got Death Stranding elements in it. Oh my god, I love Death Stranding. I played the heck out of Death Stranding. I loved every little bit about it. Fun, fun, fun game. Dear Lord. Also, PUBG horror game The Callisto Protocol is in the finished and polished stage. Man, what do you think about that, Miles, of Callisto Protocol? Have you heard news about it? Would you play it?
Yeah, so basically, kind of, sort of the spiritual reboot, if you will, of Dead Space set in the PUBG universe for whatever reason.
Yes,
Um,
it's gonna be-
we haven't seen much, but they
Yeah.
kind of set the tone of the creatures we can expect with that first CG trailer, which had me really excited because it was showing off monsters, and that's something that Dead Space always did really well. Is they did the monsters and the aliens incredibly well, kind of like The Thing. It obviously borrowed a lot of inspiration from The Thing in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, where it took the fundamental idea of a human and morphed that in really disgusting ways. And I'm hoping Callisto Protocol gives us a modern version of that, because Dead Space, one of the better modern horror franchises, was able to kind of reinvigorate the genre in a time when franchises like Resident Evil were struggling to figure out how to make a game scary and fun. Dead Space just nailed that balance really, really well. So I'm hoping Callisto Protocol is coming and will deliver on that. And it sounds like it's coming soon-ish, which is exciting.
Yeah, because here's the thing about horror games nowadays, that they took that feeling out, and the feeling is, for example, like you were saying about Dead Space. Dead Space, or you shoot or you're screwed. That's all you have to do. If because you don't have anywhere to run. It's hard to run away from a monster running at you at 50 miles per hour. If you don't shoot it, you're screwed. You don't have like let me dodge over here, let move over here. No, it's just right there. And that's an element that these horror games are have been missing in a long time. Just to have you like right there all psyched up, like, okay, what am I gonna do? This guy's coming at me. And the fun part about it is that Dead Space was when you shoot the monster, you're like, okay, you shoot his head off and just kept on coming. You shoot his leg off and kept on coming. You got to shoot everything pretty
Yeah.
much off to kill that monster. So that was a lot of fun. Sour Blow, I told him, you got to play this game. I said, you got to sit down and play it. And Sour Blow quit in the middle of the game. He ran away.
No, I
Too
didn't.
spooky?
No,
Yeah.
I played a good chunk. What happened was, well, first the mechanic was kind of, because I came and play it now. But there was a lot of elements that I loved from the game. And, I'm very looking forward to the remake. I really want to play it. And like Crazy said, something that I found Dead Space did pretty good. That games nowadays don't do it that much, and also movies don't do it that much. Like not too many movies do this. Is they Dead Space kind of keeps your adrenaline going. You have these monsters that you don't even know where they're gonna come from. They come from all places, and they move, all sorts of creepy way. They don't have the same, like, the way they move. They go up top the ceiling. It's a very I found it, even though I played it not too long ago, for it being, I think, is a Xbox 360 game, is it? I found
Yeah.
it that there was a lot of mechanics that were pretty interesting. Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
I would have played it, at the time when it did came out.
But I wonder, a PUBG horror game, how is that gonna work? I mean, I'm scratching my head. How is that thing gonna work?
We'll
I'll
see.
be fair, I don't really know the lore of the
Yeah.
PUBG
Yeah.
universe, so
I don't
maybe
think
there's a
so.
compelling reason, or maybe it was easier to get publishing if they just said, "Oh yeah, it's tied to PUBG. PUBG's popular."
Oh wait, but isn't the PUBG universe for real? Like this game?
Yeah, for real, that's a legit thing that they have
Oh,
confirmed.
okay.
It is
Oh, okay.
100% in the PUBG universe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait, there was a game. Oh man, I
I didn't
played
know.
it, but I just never gotten it. But it was a game like that. You had to survive, pick up weapons and stuff, and there were zombies around it. It was a survival, pretty much like PUBG.
Oh, are you thinking of Daisy?
Daisy,
Oh,
yes,
Daisy. I played Daisy.
I never got. Partly it's like that. You're just gonna land with the team, and you gotta pretty much or eliminate people, eliminate squads, and you probably gotta eliminate all the monsters. Probably I don't know how it's gonna work, but
Yeah,
I don't
Callisto
know.
Protocol, from what it sounds like, is a single player thing. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh, it's a single player game.
yeah,
Oh,
it won't
perfect.
have any sort of battle royale.
Oh, it won't.
Or at least
Oh,
they.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it will have any battle royale elements.
I think Miles is probably onto what it really is, right? Is like you attach yourself to a name brand like that. Like PUBG was a very
Yeah.
big player in the scene, and you attach your name to that, and that's going to get a lot more attention than if you're like, hey, we're just some random startup, we're doing our thing. Like, granted, in a world now where indie dev, you actually get a lot more spotlight in some ways than you used to. It's still a gamble depending on like what you're aiming for your budget to be, right? So I think if you slap PUBG on that, it makes a lot of sense because you're going to get a lot of eyes. You're going to get additional investors you might not have gotten otherwise. But yeah, no, the idea of it being inspired and coming from Dead Space, guys, makes me super happy, especially just in the fact that like I just went back through and I played that game. Going back to the whole achievement hunting thing, I finally I 1000 that game, but it ended up taking me doing 2 more gameplays through it, right? So I played it once and I was like, okay, I'll get all these things, I'll finish off the guns or whatever. And then all of a sudden I noticed I had like 2 or 3 more things I could do if I played one more time through and played on like impossible mode or whatever it is. And so I was like, okay, sure, we'll do it again. So I ended up playing that game twice in the span of, I think it was like a week and a half. And even then, it's like it wasn't scary at that point because I had played so much of it, I knew exactly what was coming. But I just, that universe again, it's like what you guys were talking about earlier. It's super tight corridors. It builds a level of like anxiety and tense that a lot of games don't do. And it was super atmospheric. So if this game's anything like that, sign me up. Like I can't wait. I was excited that this was announced because hopefully end of this year, maybe beginning of next year. Um, I do like that Dead Space came out though, and EA is like, hey, don't forget us, because I think it was either today or yesterday. They posted something on Facebook actually showing the differences between the audio files and stuff like that from the old game to the new one. So I like how they're almost like competing in ways, because they're like, hey, wait. We see you like this, but hold on, come back to us. Like, we have something for you too.
Yeah, we shut Visceral down. Implodes. Yeah, honestly.
City's at the house. There's like 10 houses. Reach out. They can save his house? Okay. I don't know. We know where you're at, so stay right there. We'll get you. Back in the day, I remember that. Never had this game.
Yeah, let me pick it out.
Well, I think we have
Bandana
Dealership. Just stand in and crash. Careful. Why won't you fucking die?
Okay, we're back.
Run.
You guys caught Tommy Jarvis?
Oh.
Okay, you ready?
Okay. Hey, keep running.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
We're back.
We're singing a song. The song of love to give me.
Stop it, crazy. We're back.
Why would I stop? Because nobody can see me sing.
Yes, they are seeing you. What happened? There's a delay, remember?
There's a delay.
No, there's no delay. Nobody's hearing me sing. I love. Oh, there we're back.
Yes,
Yep.
there
All right,
we
we're
Crazy.
back.
We've been back. We got delay. We got a delay in the stream.
But it was a lovely song, though.
No, it was
What
not.
is-
Sure.
I have
Sure,
a
we'll go with
beautiful
that.
voice. I have a
All right.
beautiful voice.
The voice of an angel.
Yes. Yes.
Where were we?
Where were we? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were talking about PUBG, Callisto
Yes.
Protocol.
We're talking about
and-
PUBG, Callisto
Talking
Protocol.
about being skeptical. A little bit
Yeah.
skeptical.
Oh,
about
yeah,
the
okay.
internet. Yes.
Yeah, but I just. What do you think about it, Sour Blow?
Oh,
Since you.
no, I think I already talked about it.
Oh, you did.
Did I?
How about you, Silent Cipher? What'd you think about the Callisto?
I also talked
I
about
Oh,
think we can just move on to the
Okay,
next
let's
thing.
move on to
I
the
could
next
talk
subject.
about it for days.
Oh, right. You see, 4K says my ears are bleeding. Why do you can't, guys? Why are you seeing it bleeding now? No, I sing real good,
Aw.
man. What are you guys talking about?
Throwing shade on your
All right,
pipes,
all right,
dude.
all
What's
right.
going on, yo?
All right, chat. What song do y'all want me to sing, chat? You guys got to tell me right now what song. What do you mean nothing?
Put
In the arms of an angel. Can you hit that for me?
In the arms of an angel. I never heard that song though. I
You
can
know what?
sing
Miles requested it, so
Go. You know it's a banger. You know it. Any sad cat commercial you've seen it.
any sad cat commercial seen in arms of an angel. I've
you'll
never heard
have
that
to
song.
do it
though.
as a separate video for him later.
Okay, yeah, I gotta think about a song I gotta sing though. So nobody wants a sound chat. I can sing something really.
No.
funny quick now.
Let's
no.
change subject real quick.
Crazy.
We talked about
Yeah.
we talk about what was it? Wow, I
Yeah.
forgot. But anyway, QuakeCon was announced,
Oh yes.
but it's going to
Yeah.
be digital.
I said that.
Yeah, we
did
covered
say
that.
that.
We did
Covered
cover that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did cover that.
What
Where
would
were
we-
you, Sour Blow?
Did
You
you?
see?
No, you didn't say QuakeCon though, but you said
Yeah, I
something
said-
else. You
I
said
said QuakeCon.
you said
What did I say?
you said
What did I say?
Oh, no.
GamesCon. You said GamesCon or something.
Did I
like
say
that.
GamesCon? No, I said QuakeCon.
Watch, the
What?
video is gonna be there.
I
Oh yes.
feel-
No, I
I
said
Yes,
feel
you
like
QuakeCon.
I feel like we're in the Marvel blip, right?
Yeah, right.
Where like some of us
Right.
kept moving on, the other ones were just left behind.
Yep. Yeah.
So maybe
I swear I heard
maybe what we could do is
GamesCon
we could talk
or
about
No, I
something.
said I said QuakeCon is gonna be digital, and I said why does it have to be digital when you all need to go there? No, but yeah, it breaks my heart that those things get digital. So now, why don't we move on to our main topic and let's discuss The Quarry. Ooh, that game.
Ooh.
That was like a 30-minute thing right there with The Quarry. I saw part of it, but the thing is, I have a deal with Hertogvin, and the deal is I have to play scary games so he can see me on Twitch and laugh. So I couldn't see a lot of it. But yeah, let's talk about the Quarry game. Are you excited for it, Miles? Tell me, what do you feel about the Quarry game?
Yeah, super massive. Obviously, very well known for Until Dawn. More recently, the Dark Pictures series that they've been doing. This looks like a big budget kind of spiritual successor to Until Dawn, which has me incredibly excited. It's got horror legends. It's got Lin Shaye, one of the ultimate scream queens in it. It's got Lance Henriksen. It's got David Arquette. The cast is absolutely stacked with horror icons. So I also haven't seen a lot of this 30 minutes. I watched a couple minutes, but with this being very story driven, I didn't want to spoil it for myself before playing the game, because I'm going to play this day one, guaranteed, no questions at all. The new engine is looking beautiful. The visuals are really impressive. When I played Man of Medan, the performance was bad. It was so bad at launch, and I'm hoping that those things are kind of smoothed out with this new engine. And based on the 30 minutes that we saw, performance is way more consistent. So I'm excited. I'm ready. Give me some campy horror in video game form. Let's go.
Yeah, it always starts in the camp, huh? Because they were driving to a camp, they get lost, so they grab a map, and I was like, okay, so now again we're back to the campsites. Everything starts with camping, so guys, never go camping. And if you go camping, make sure your cell phone works, just in case. You need
It never does, though. Sorry,
It
that's
never
just
does.
that's the trope.
Yeah.
It can't. It can't.
It never works though. So yeah, don't go camping without your cell phone, or get a satellite cell phone. Do work though. Yeah, satellite cell phones. Yes. How about you, Silent Cypher? Are you excited for this Quarry game? Tell me. How excited are you?
I am very excited about this. Watching it, I'm like Miles. I didn't end up going through that whole thing because I don't want it to be spoiled for myself when I go into the game like the game proper. But the trailer that they released, even I think it was a couple weeks ago, it just, it's like you watch that and it just has, again, we talk about like atmospheric vibes and stuff like that. And that game looks to have that. And also the cast, like I know you were talking about that, but the fact that it's got all the people it does, like Miles Robbins, and it had like Ted Raimi, it had Ethan Suplee.
Yeah.
Like it has so many people in it, and you're just like, my goodness, like this is a massive lineup for a game like that. The fact that it comes from that same group from the Horror Pictures anthology, like that's really cool. Those guys have been doing really good work with that stuff, and I think it's in the right hands, right? That seems like a good team to have for something like this. But no, I can't wait for it to actually come out. I'm gonna try and go media blackout on this thing as much as possible, I think, until it comes out.
Yeah, because here's the thing though. You see those games like, and they play 30-minute videos, and I saw a little bit about it. And I said, no, I don't want to keep on watching it, because then it would take the scare effect out of me. So I was like, I'll just wait till the game comes out so I can. I know Sour Blow saw it. I know he did, because Sour Blow, he's not gonna play that game. He's too scared of it, because every time he plays scary games, he just runs away and hides. I mean, seriously. Even Elden Ring, it took us like a month to make him play Elden Ring. He was all afraid and scared. I don't know what scared him in Elden Ring.
I was pretty busy that week, those 2 weeks. But anyway, you will actually be surprised. I do want to play this game because even though I'm not a huge horror fan, but my wife is, and I want to play with her. I'm getting her into gaming. She used to just not play any game at all. We finished It Takes Two. We're currently playing A Way Out, and I'm trying to get her into, to play a little bit here, a little bit there. I know she's a horror fan, so I got her the Dark Picture. Is it Dark Picture or Horror Picture?
Yeah, Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah, I got her the trilogy. So
nice.
Probably after we finish A Way Out, we might jump into that. So yeah, I am excited to play with her. I'm having fun with her. She gets pretty frustrated every time she's stuck somewhere.
But so the question: did you have any of you all played the Dark Anthologies trilogy? Have you guys ever played it? Tried it?
I played one of them.
You played one of them. How about you, Cypher? Did you play one?
I played some of Man of Medan and the second one. I forget the name of
Little Hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of that one as well. After the first one, I just was kind of like, I almost want all of it to come out at the same time so that way I can burn through it all together for myself. But yeah, no, I just the first one, and a little bit of second.
Which one's the one with the ship and the art, like the military guys?
That's
That
Man of
was-
Medan.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was
that's
yeah,
the one I
right at
played.
the
Okay.
beginning.
That's the
Mine
first
actually
one?
appeared to play.
Yeah, that was the first one of the three. It
Okay.
went Man of Medan, Little Hope, and then House of Ashes, which I haven't
Yes.
played House of Ashes, which I hear from a lot of people is actually the best one that they've done. So I need to make some time to go back and play that one. But I did play the first two. And compared to Until Dawn, I guess I didn't really love either one of them. Like I liked them because it's horror. They're well done in terms of storytelling and how it's presented, but I guess I didn't like the stories of the first two that much. And they're based on other source material, so I get it, but it wasn't the same vibe, if you will, as Until Dawn and now what the Quarry looks like, where they really lean into the campy horror.
Oh
Going
man,
back to where it all began.
That's
Yeah.
right.
going back to camping into horror stuff. Where
So-
everything, just
Question.
everything bad happens. What?
Question for you, Miles. Will your wife be willing to play those games with you? Like when this new one comes out, does she play games with you?
So yeah, she doesn't play a ton. We did the Man of Medan together. This one I showed her. She's excited. She loves Scream, so she was excited to see David Arquette in there. She also is big into the Conjuring, Insidious universe, so she was very excited to see Lin Shaye in there as well. So yeah, we're planning me, my wife, and then one of my good buddies who lives near me in this area. We're planning to do the couch movie mode and play through that. So.
Nice.
Yeah, my wife loves horror as well, so she doesn't play a ton of games, but the game she's played the most is State of Decay 2. And I think she has like 1,000 hours or something wild. Like blows my time out of the water in State of Decay 2.
So she jumps in and plays that on her own then, huh?
We've done the co-op together, but she's been playing without me for a long time because I like it, but I'm always playing something new. So like I'm just moving on to the next thing, and she's just State of Decay 2 all day. Let's go.
That's
That,
awesome.
that is something I don't understand. Why is it so addicting? State of Decay is just so addicting. It's so like when I played it, I was like, let me get all the achievements, and I was actually doing it. Then just one day I said, you know what? I've done this so much. It's just like let me just go to another game because if I keep doing it, I'm just gonna keep on going and going and going and going.
It's got a good
Because-
loop. It's got the balance
Yeah.
of horror and action and
Yeah.
sim, and she just keeps
It's got
bumping
that-
up the difficulties and just
Yeah.
now she's I don't even remember the name of the highest difficulty because I've never played it, but she's deep into that. And
It's
Man.
it's great if you have OCD too, right? Because you have to sit there and you have to balance the gauges of like, oh no, now my town or like now my little safe house is out of like resources, so now they need meds or oh they need this, and it's like I feel like it was tuned just right. So like every time you feel like you're in a pretty good spot, all of a sudden something happens, one of the meters drops through the ground. And you're like, oh no, I gotta go get more meds, or oh I gotta get more ammo or whatever. It's like they did that really well. I feel like that game's got a great loop.
it's the closest we've gotten to fulfilling that Walking Dead fantasy.
Yes.
I think is why it really connects. Is you've got all the elements. You got the social dynamics. You have the resource management. You got to go out on supply runs to keep everything stable. So yeah, I can't wait for State of Decay 3. But
And permadeath.
Yeah.
Which
Mhm.
permadeath is rough in that game. Because if you lose someone and you've dedicated all that time or they had all those good weapons, oh man.
or if they're your
It's
mechanic
hard.
and now you can't
Yeah.
repair your cars anymore,
Yes.
oof, there's consequences to death in that. And that's
Yes.
pretty cool.
For sure.
I have a question, which before I ask it, I'm gonna be crucified for this, but horror movies, most of them, I kind of don't dig into them, especially when it's like one guy chasing the people around, and it's kind of like I find them kind of repetitive a bit. However, The Conjuring I did love. I loved 1, 2, and 3, especially 1, and I liked the third one after that. The second one I didn't like as much, but I still liked it. Maybe because, it has some investigation, it has a backstory. What other movies like that would you recommend to me?
But yeah, The Conjuring I like as like a really good modern ghost story. It's got a lot of your classic horror elements. If you like that, one movie that I almost really liked up until the end was Sinister. Like the first 90% of Sinister is really good, really tense, tons of great atmosphere, this really compelling mystery that the family's trying to uncover, and then it builds up and you're like really hooked, and then the climax happens and you're like, wow, that twist was so dumb. So dumb that it almost ruins the rest of the movie. But what's especially frustrating is like the first 90% of it is so good. I'm trying to think of other movies that are kind of in that vein that scratch that itch. Insidious, if you haven't seen that series, it's Conjuring adjacent, so would highly recommend that.
I actually had that in a list, but I never got to it. The Insidious.
Yeah, I think there's got 4 of them now. Like there's you got some catching up to do in that world for sure.
I'll do that.
He should probably jump in and watch Society while he's at it, right?
Yeah, Society. If you want an all-time classic, if you like The Thing, go watch Society.
Okay.
I will tell you because I think I had messaged you about it previously, but that was the first time I had ever seen that. Was when you ended up recommending it on cough plug Fear on Tapped. Available.
Yes, my weekly podcast, Fear on Tap.
Yes,
I liked more than The Thing. I liked more the Grudge actually.
Oh yeah, I like The Grudge quite a bit. The Ring, the Ring remake. I'm sorry, that's one of the better horror movies of the last several decades. That movie is incredible.
Remake, really?
Mm-hmm. I like the original, but the Ring American remake was one of the rare times where I thought that they did a better job than the original. I know that's controversial to some, but
I really didn't like that one.
Oh,
I prefer the classic one.
Blasphemy. The classic one is good, but the budget is so unbelievably low that it's hard to go back and watch. It is.
They had really good star power for that new one too, because they ended up having they had Sarah Michelle Gellar. They also had, I think it was right at that time when Roswell was blowing up. They had Jason Behr in it.
Wasn't there making a movie? Sorry to interrupt. I think the Ring girl is named Samantha, right?
Samara. The actual Ring girl who's in the well. Yeah, Samara.
Okay, Samara. And then what's the name of the Grudge girl?
Oh God.
Well, the point is, I think they was making a movie like them versus. Did that ever came out?
I think so. It's a Japanese movie, and I haven't seen it, but it's been on my radar. Yeah, it's basically the Ju-on versus Ringu, I think is what it's called in Japan. But it is pretty much The Grudge versus The Ring. Like Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
I don't know why they greenlit this and decided to make it, but hey, it's there. It's there if you want to watch it.
I feel like I need that in my life now. I didn't realize that was actually a thing. That
it's a thing. Again, I need to see it. I really need to see it because, again, I grew up watching the worst of the worst horror movies, and it can't be worse than that. But I can't imagine it's good. I can't.
No. It's gonna be one of those ones where you sit down and you regret it, but you appreciate it at the same time. It's,
have you guys seen?
Said in the past. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Have you guys seen the Leprechaun versus Chucky? Chucky versus Leprechaun.
Leprechaun versus Chucky?
Yeah.
Is that real?
No.
I feel like I would have seen that.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Where did you get
I've
that
seen
from?
I think
Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood, Leprechaun in Space. but I've never heard of
Yeah, I've
Leprechaun
never
versus
seen- no.
Chucky.
I'm pretty sure I think I saw that.
There's
I think
no-
I think you found a fan YouTube video and are trying to pass it off as a real movie.
Yeah.
Or at least I saw news or something about it.
I mean,
Or is somebody fact checking
no,
that?
no, definitely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep,
Chucky
this is
versus Leprechaun. I
Chucky.
knew I had seen it.
what?
Since
Is it-
the two it's a battle, yes, there is a movie called Chucky versus Leprechaun.
When did this
What?
come out?
Dude,
What
it's
on
already-
earth?
What?
It's a 2013 movie, American horror thriller session from directed by Ronnie Yu. What?
Oh
have
my
not
god, the
seen that.
non-horror guy
Okay.
is giving you classes.
That is a
What?
wow.
I don't-
Okay,
What?
I'm gonna have
I
to
don't
track
even-
this down.
Yeah,
This sounds
yeah,
like a
check this out.
disaster.
Yeah, we gotta see that.
I don't even understand.
Oh my god.
I don't know how there's a world where I didn't even hear about this.
Yes, me
Yeah.
either. I
Like,
actually just
how?
looked for it right now. It's right here. Leprechaun versus Chucky. Crossover between Leprechaun and Child's Play and the Pitts Leprechaun installment Child's Play. The film was released on October 16. Family fun horror 1000. What? I don't get why they put that money in there. Oh, Brad Dourif did Chucky too. What? Nah.
I still feel like this is just like a pipe dream.
This is
and
the
you're like,
this is a fever dream. This is an alternate
Yeah.
timeline that we're
Because,
momentarily trapped in after YouTube crashed.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we're stuck. The blip hasn't reverted yet.
So Miles, I got a question too for you. How did you get the nickname the GOAT? They call you the GOAT.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because he
I
is
didn't. Obviously,
the
I would be an
greatest of all
absolute
time.
clown if I was calling myself the goat. So I don't know. I don't know where it got to.
He
Just
is-
tell him it's the
he-
goatee.
The goatee.
The goatee.
I got the little French thing going on, the mustache,
Yeah.
goatee combo.
Yeah.
Mr. Future Class, Miles the Goat. Dompier.
Miles the GOAT.
Yeah,
Probably
there's-
Mr. Joanna Dark probably is the origin of that, but
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Also, you're a big fan of Phantom Dust too.
that's right. Phantom Dust, Xbox's blemish. All right, it's a mistake I will not let Xbox forget ever. But yes, I am a big Phantom Dust fan
Why is it a mistake though?
because they announced. Oh no, the original game unfortunately didn't really sell well. It came out at the tail end of the Xbox life, and it was one of the very first Xbox Live focused games. Like the main selling point of this was the online multiplayer component of the game.
Okay.
And so because of that, it didn't really take off because it wasn't Halo for one, and it was one of the few games that had online. But it's such a unique experience that combines basically Dragon Ball Z, like the over-the-top, flashy combat, your epic signature moves, and Magic the Gathering, like the deck building. So you go in and you customize your deck. And there's this randomized element where you have these orbs on the map, and so these cycle in. And as you pick up, like, if you've played Magic, you have elemental resources. You pick up basically energy in this, and then that swaps out a new ball. And that new ball is one of the basically cards you put in your deck. So there's this kind of back and forth in this game of chess where if my enemy is using a ranged attack, I need to have a defense move that is a ranged defense move. You can steal people's moves, you can counterattack, you can zap all of their resources, you can zap their health. And it's hard to explain, and it is complicated, but Xbox announced that they're rebooting it, and I was so stoked. I was so stoked for that formula to exist in the modern day when deck building now, and especially now, is like bigger than it's ever been. Like if you turn Phantom Dust into like a deck building PvP game right now, it would be so awesome. And then they basically announced the reboot, and then shortly after, like, oh, we pretty much fired the team that was working on the reboot, so now it's just in limbo. They haven't officially canceled it, but I don't think it's in active development by any means, and there's been no talks to find a team to do it. But yeah, it's upsetting to me as someone who loves Phantom Dust. I know Phil Spencer's a big Phantom Dust fan, so I'm sure he was a bit bummed about how everything played out. But now that we're in the golden age where Xbox is actually spending money and actually investing in teams, now is the time to strike. I even reached out to the studio head of Cold Iron Studios, the team who did Aliens Fireteam Elite. And I was like, this team would kill Phantom Dust. This team would absolutely destroy it. And then the studio head's like, yeah, let's do it. Like let's go. And I'm like, all right, here you go, Xbox. Here's a team that wants to do it. I'm putting everything in motion here for you. All right. All you got to do is pay the millions of dollars and all that stuff. But
Oh man,
You did all the hard job for them.
yeah, exactly. I did all the heavy lifting. You're welcome, Xbox.
Did all the legwork. You got it all sorted out. Now they just got Uncle Phil's got to sign that check, and that's done.
Yep.
Yeah, done deal. Let's go, baby. Come on now. But yes, Phantom Dust, very, very. I don't want to say underrated, but it's not well known. Like most people don't even know what that game is. Have no idea about the experience. They re-released it. You can play it for free on Xbox right now, like the remastered version, but with like any remaster, if you're going back and playing an original Xbox game 20 years after the fact, it's kind of it doesn't have that same magic, I'll say.
Yeah. It doesn't feel as good as modern games do now. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, so it's tough to sell people on like what this could be based on making them play what it was 20 years ago. But
yeah, that
remaster.
That happened to me with Resident Evil HD. The Resident Evil they released, the first one HD, I think it was a couple of years ago. It had the same formula as the old Resident Evil games. And so when I was playing it, I was like, oh man, this feels like, I love the game, but it feels like the old Resident Evil game. But the Resident Evil 2 though.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels real good.
That feels real good, especially Mr. X coming after you. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Yep. How about you know what's a good scary game? The Aliens game, Alien Isolation. That's also a fun game. I as an Alien fan, just when I jumped into the game, you know, when you start into the sleeping capsule, right? You see the dust, that thing opens up, and then when you get on the computer, you remember the old computers like oh my God, everything with that game is just it's awesome. And also just the feeling of you in the game, like when the alien is coming after you, and you're like, whoa, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna hide? Oh man, it's a crazy fun game. It's a crazy fun game, yeah.
Yeah, they really make you feel absolutely useless in that game, which is how it would be if you were in a scenario against a xenomorph. You can't really do much if you're just an average schmuck on a ship, and that's why Alien Isolation was so successful, is because when that alien's coming, you feel it. You tense up. You want to desperately look for any place to hide because you know if it sees you, you're dead. That's it.
And you got the sensor. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh.
In that same topic, Miles, you had the Kinect, right?
Oh yeah, both versions.
Yes.
360 and I mean, obviously, if you bought an Xbox One at launch, you didn't have a choice. But
anyways, yeah. So, did you play Alien Isolation with the camera active, recording the audio?
I didn't.
And stuff?
I didn't, but I heard that was a really cool experience.
Dude, it was. I will tell you something. Like that game on its own, right, is really intense. It's constantly just like aggravating how like frustrating that xenomorph is and stuff, right? When you were using the Kinect, it was like a whole different level of difficulty, because like if the dog made a noise, if the kid made a noise, if a board creaked in the house or something, and the Kinect caught that, you were just DOA. Like it was so brutal. It ramped up that difficulty to a whole different level. It was pretty wild.
I got a story that happened to me with the Kinect. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, I was playing Alien Isolation. Yeah, I was playing Alien Isolation, and I ran inside the locker, and I heard the alien. I think it was the first time when it drops down. When you see it the first time, just dropping down, it's just how beautiful that alien looks. Oh man, that was just gorgeous. And I was like, okay, time to run. So I ran into the locker. I was scared because I know that thing is gonna come chase me, and I hide in the locker. And so I started relaxing myself, and I accidentally let one rip. And so when I let one rip, all of a sudden I see her open the locker, grab me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm turning this Kinect thing off. No, screw this.
That's my flatulence. You hate to see it, dude.
You hate to see it.
Yep.
That story
Yep.
went places I did not
Oh,
expect it
God.
was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. The good
Anyway,
thing is, so I don't get a timeout. I don't get a timeout. Yes, yes,
you
yes.
you
No
want me to
timeout
give you
for
a
me.
timeout? I could give you a timeout.
You know,
So
Sour
No.
still has the ability
yeah,
to do
exactly.
these things.
No.
Miles, are you familiar with when Crazy gets stuck in timeout? Because it happens
Mhm.
often.
I've heard the legendary
Yes.
stories.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh.
puts himself in situations like this, like talking about getting stuck in poop buckets on State of Decay.
Oh yeah, I got stuck on a poop bucket in State of Decay, man. Oh Lord, we were driving we were going someplace, and all of a sudden just get stuck in
Yep,
this big
that's why
old
you're in
bucket.
timeout now.
Yep, that's
What-
why you're
what?
in timeout right now.
Oh,
That's
Right
what we
now.
call a bait and switch. I just dropped you right into that one, bud,
Yes.
and it was worth it.
While you're in timeout, real quick,
Yes.
there's a few questions from the chat. I'm gonna start with this one because it's more related to what we were talking about. It's actually for Cypher, so I'll start with you. It says, do you think it's easier for a studio to produce an existing IP or create a new IP?
Man, I used to think it would be so much easier for a company to just pick up an existing one and just run with it. But I feel like more often than not, right? Like when you pick up that existing IP, there's just so much that goes with it, right? Like you look at something not even game related, right? Like there wasn't really a Friday the 13th game before, but there were existing properties, there were copyright issues and stuff like that when that Friday the 13th game came out. Like building it on an existing license, even whether it be you're going off of an IP or a license or something, it just feels like there's so much red tape that you have to go through depending on, like, I guess with a game, at least if you have the IP or you get granted rights to it, maybe you don't have to get approvals on all the different things that you decide to do with the game, right? But I don't know. It almost feels like doing a ground up, like you have the benefit of being able to make the game what you want it to be. Barring whatever financial restrictions you have for your budget. But it feels like anytime you go off of an existing, you just have so much red tape potentially that you have to deal with depending on if there are licenses. And if there aren't licenses, it feels like you've got the fans, the diehard fans that are going to hold you to task, right? Like if it's not everything that you want exactly, they will let you know. Miles, what do you think?
Mouse, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say they're probably both incredibly hard because let's say you're picking up Halo, for example. Let's say you're 343 Industries and you get to take the mantle of Halo. Probably not easier than making a new IP. There is a lot of baggage that comes with any major established franchise, especially one that has a passionate, ravenous fandom. That being said, we've seen a lot of new IPs come and go. A lot of new IPs don't really hit because it is hard to like take fundamentally new ideas and introduce a brand new world and try to have people connect and engage with that world. So I'll just cop out and say, yeah, it's hard to do both. I don't know.
Fair.
Yeah, I think real quick that the story element, to build a new IP and build the world, build the characters, that I feel like that's the very difficult part because you gotta make everything from scratch and you gotta make people fall in love with your game. When you have an established IP, you kind of already have that fan base, but at the same time, like you said, it's pretty difficult because you got to keep those already existing fans. You got to keep them happy, but you also are trying to make new fans. So it's I think both of them are pretty difficult. What about you, Crazy?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna tell you something though. Like for you to bring an old game back and work on it, like I said, and also you got to put it the ways that it is now, right? Like I said before, when you play the Resident Evil HD, that they came out. I bought it. I was like, oh, Resident Evil HD. Oh my god, it's got modern graphics. So I jump into it, and you feel like the walking is still as stiff as it was years ago. And when you start to shoot, you were like, you had to do the aim thing, and it was like,
Mhm.
okay, I remember all that stuff. I have fun with it, but it's like nowadays it's a lot more. It should be a lot more easier. But now when you jump into Resident Evil 2, you see how they did that game, and for example, you ask me which is better, the old Resident Evil 2 or the new Resident Evil 2? I will seriously tell you, I love the new Resident Evil 2. I love it
That's really
just the
good.
way it is. It's really good. And it's tense. You got the psychological tense thing behind you because you got Mr. X, this big dude that's like 20 feet tall, this big animal, and it looks like a freaking Hulk because when you know when he's there when he starts walking, you hear the boom, 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 those heavy boots, and you're like, oh, where is he? Where is he? So you start looking to where he is, and then you gotta say, okay, now I gotta run, and this dude chases you everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. All right.
Yeah, it's Resident Evil 2, the remake in particular. That's pretty much the gold standard now for if you're going to go back and remake a game, it better be as good as Resident Evil 2 because they managed to capture your wildest imagination, that feeling you had playing Resident Evil 2 as a kid growing up, and they were able to take that and make it look like you imagined as a kid, and that is tough. That is so tough to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go, Silent. Go.
Oh, I was gonna say the final question from the chat that I'm gonna read real quick is question for Miles from Risk It. He says,
Biscuit for the biscuit.
Biscuit for the biscuit. He says, do you think Sony invested $1 billion? Why do you think Sony invested $1 billion in Epic? What is the end game there?
What is the end game there? It's always got to be about the end game, right? Let's see. Unfortunately, as much as we like to talk about the wild possibilities of the gaming industry and who might scoop up who and what all these little moves mean, I think the reality is it's just a way for PlayStation to have revenue and have this investment with a company that for sure is only going to continue to grow as Unreal 5 rolls out and as we see Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, all of these developers are like, we're using Unreal 5. Unreal 5 is awesome. And that's just going to mean that investment as that grows and grows for PlayStation is going to mean more money for PlayStation. So that's really all it is. I don't think it's anything more than they're trying to diversify their portfolio. They're trying to invest smartly so that they have this revenue stream and they have more value, because that's really what this is going to be about, is when you're taking out loans, for example, to have, purchase a studio or develop a game, whatever the case might be, you want to have some sort of value to point to. And if you have all of these stocks in Epic, that is worth money that you can later invest into something else. And that's the boring answer of why I think PlayStation did that.
It's basically like the corporate version of playing the stock market, right?
Yes.
Essentially.
It's good to invest, guys. I mean, I'm gonna say something. It's a smart move, like what Miles is saying. It's a really good move from their side because if the company keeps growing, their pockets grow bigger too. So it's a great move
That's
for them
right.
to invest. Yeah.
Dollars, yo.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yep. So, guys, I think we're at the end of the show. We're now landing nice and peacefully. And let's start with our awesome outros. But beforehand, guys, I have an announcement to make real quick. Wait, who dropped off? Oh, okay.
I don't
So someone entered and then left.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, I got an announcement to make real quick. It's about Mr. Joanna Dark. He got some work stuff going on, so he will not be joining us as a panelist for a very long time. So he won't be joining us, and he has to step down as a panelist, guys, because he got work in between. So yeah, we're gonna miss you a lot, my brother, Mr. Joanna. You are awesome. Hope that one day we will have you back soon here with us and hanging out with us again. You will always be a member of Team XBI. We love you to death, my dear brother. Really, we do. So let's start with the outros, and Miles, really, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a fun show with you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I know it happens. But yeah, really, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being part of this show today and for hanging out with us and telling us your experience on how it all began with you and what got you into gaming. Really happy to hear all that stuff from you. So, Miles, let's start with you. Where can we find you, my dear brother? Let's start with you.
Well, appreciate you guys shoot me the invite. It was a lot of fun hanging out. And yeah, the technical difficulties, I mean, that's just YouTube right now. That's just the state of the game. So all good. Glad we got to serenade each other for a little bit at least. And yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of me, oh no, who's this? Who's this? Who's this guy over here?
Who's this guy over here? Wait, what? Wait.
Oh, I'm calling the authorities. Oh, there he goes.
There he goes. Oh, he's
just sneaking in here. Yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, just follow me on Twitter at Miles Dompier. I'm on there arguably too much. And if you want to check out what I'm working on, I write and produce videos for Windows Central. You can catch those on windowscentral.com or youtube.com/Windows Central Gaming. And that's it.
Oh, awesome. How about you, Silent Cypher? Where can we find you, my dear brother?
All right. Well, you can find me on YouTube, Xbox, Twitter, Twitch, everywhere as Silent Cypher. You can catch me here on XBI every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Miles, thank you so much for coming on this evening. It was a treat. Honestly, it was an honor to have you on, dude. It's been a long time coming. I kept hoping one day we'd get to hang out with you and sit here and talk some pods. One thing, and maybe you didn't mention it, or maybe I just missed it, but what about Fear on Tap on Friday?
Oh yeah, I guess I should plug that. Yes. So if you like horror, and I know horror's niche, I love horror, and I didn't want to bore people on Xbox Chatterdays about horror every single week. So myself and my co-host Ame Chiasson, sorry if I butchered the French. She is a legit French. I'm a phony French. We do a podcast together where we talk about horror movies, we talk about horror games, we talk about horror TV, and then we share spooky stories from listeners, and we also dive into scary rabbit holes outside of entertainment. But if you are a horror fan and want to, dive deeper, check out Fear on Tap. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll have links to that in the show description as well. So if anyone wants to check it out, please do. It's been great so far for the episodes that you guys have done. I appreciate it, especially on Fridays when I'm trying to get into that weekend grind and get away from work. It's nice to have one last thing to listen to. So,
Miles, can you hear me?
Yo, what's up?
What's up, Mr. Joanna?
I just want to know what beer would you open up for Veronica with all this slander?
Oh, what beer? I would open up a piping hot Keystone. That's what I would open up for Veronica. A Keystone Ice has been sitting in a 1992 Toyota Camry for an entire day. That's what I would open up for Veronica.
You're a monster. That's why I'm gonna kill Phantom Dust.
Oh, man.
Can't kill what's already dead. All right, joke's on you.
He said it. I didn't. And then real quick, because I don't want to derail. I want to get Miles out of here. Because Sourblue, you thought you were cute by putting your real name in chat and making a question like I didn't know your real name. You're the worst.
Yep. We got that. We got that for a fact. We got him for that right there. He should get a timeout. The thing is, I do not know how to put timeout.
Crazy. The timeouts are only for you. They're only
what
for
are
you.
you for me, man? Why do I always get timeout? I did not talk about wee wee man. I did not talk about nothing like that.
You just did right now.
Let's bring it back and let's get the guys out so we can get Miles back.
Man. How about you, Soundblow? Where can we find you, my dear brother?
Okay, I'll try to make it quick because I want to squeeze two small announcements. You can find me Twitter, Sourblow18, and in YouTube, Sour Blow Gaming. I have a Spanish. We have a Spanish speaking channel. We have a podcast every Tuesday. What I wanted to announce real quick is for Fridays, we are ramping up. We're starting to play in Twitch. So what I'm gonna do is, in Twitter, I'm gonna post a poll with 4 different games so the community could pick which game we're gonna play, and we're gonna keep switching them every week. That's one of the things, and the other one is crap. I forgot the other one.
Okay, wait. Star Citizen is coming out soon, right? That's what you're gonna say, right?
No, not Star Citizen.
Okay.
It was something else. Oh,
Okay.
the other thing is stay tuned to our like Twitter account, each one of us, because we're gonna be posting little hints of who our next guest is,
Ooh.
and we're gonna keep doing that every time and see whoever guessed. For this week, I think it was Mag. Was it Mag or Big Matt Mo that guessed who we had? But it was kind of a given because it was kind of straight up. That was too easy. But the next one we're gonna make it harder. That's all.
Yep, we're gonna start slashing tires next week.
It's Kojima.
Yes, Hideo Kojima. All right.
Why are you giving the answer away, man? You can't tell them.
Yeah, I'm learning Japanese so we can talk to Kojima. Yes. So now it's time for the crazy ones outro. Mr. Anna, would you like to tell everyone where they can find you, or should I just say my outro?
Just want to say to the community, thank you so much. It was great. Unfortunately, due to work commitments, like Crazy was saying, I can no longer be on XBI at the moment. So, it's heartbreaking, but these guys are awesome. Miles, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure. As someone who discovered you over a year ago, as I look at my timeline as my subscription, it's been a pleasure. You drive a great community, and that's one of the things that when we kind of put together XBI that we kind of model after, because you're an amazing person in the community, and we always appreciate what you do. Amazing content. So thank you so much for coming on XBI. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Yes. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Miles.
man.
Thank you. All right, here we go. So now it's time for the crazy to do this outro. So let me switch a little bit real quick. Gotta get my inner strength thing. Yes, all right, let's go. So to find the crazy one, it's easy. You gotta go on Twitter, look for Crazy Louis Gaming, where I dance, I do splits, I do ballet, I'm actually doing some talking sessions, which last me only 2 minutes. I have to get Twitter blue so it can last for 10 minutes, where I talk to the community and just all the fun stuff I'm doing daily. So yeah, hanging out with everybody, just chatting a little bit. So that's what I do on my Twitter account. Just hang out, chat, and follow you guys and hear what you guys got to say. Really enjoy every time when people respond to me and talk to me. Love you all. Seriously, come along and again, add me on Twitter and let's have some fun. Also, every Tuesday, I am with my brother Sour Blow and Sour Blow Gaming, called Gaming Lobby, where we talk in Spanish and give out the gaming news for the Spanish community. So guys, if you know some Spanish friends, please bring them along. Tell them to come join us so that we can have fun on our show. And as always, every Wednesday here in Xbox International in the Crazy Louis Gaming channel at 7 p.m. EST, hanging out with the guys and talking about gaming news also, with Silent Cypher and my brother Sour Blow. So yeah, guys, it's time to end the show. As I'm saying, this is my new phrase, and I'm going to keep it this way. Love the game and stop the hating. And as always, remember, let's go, let's rock, and let's get crazy. Yes, see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the XBI Podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe on the way out. We'll see you next time.